So, good question. How do we calculate the invoices that we have created at the end by the end of last month, but which we haven't shipped? That is a problem because it means we have revenue that isn't matched to a cost of goods sold transaction. We need some information to answer that question. We need to know details for each SKU and for each date, what we invoiced and what we shipped, what the selling price was. And it's possible, by the way, that we might have the reverse situation. We have shipped and not invoiced, in which case our COGS would be overstated, and we'd need to know the COGS used by that particular shipment to calculate what the overstatement of COGS was. So that information is really difficult to get out of Deer, as you would know if you've ever tried to do it yourself. But in the connector, we have a table which has the individual transactions per invoice. So we have a row for every shipment, a row for every invoice per SKU, and we also have information about credit notes and restocks and even drop ships. So that's the raw data we need to make a report. So let's go and make a report to help us answer that question. We'll make a pivot chart report. Let's grab the order reference and put it on the row. And let's do the date filter first. So transaction date. I don't want anything from this month. I want from all of history, but nothing in this month. So there are a few different ways of doing it. I'm just going to do it this way. We're going to go by month. I'm going to add a new range. I'm going to make it previous 99 months. 99 months is a long period of time. That will take me back to the beginning of the data. Now, the invoice quantity is called the revenue quantity, and the shipped quantity is the inventory quantity. And most of the time, our orders match. Sometimes they don't. It would be good to have a way of finding only the rows where we have a difference. Now, I will make a field that lets us do that conveniently. So this field I had already added, but I needed to refresh the screen. I'll put that in here. Let's bring it up. So now we can see there's a lot of rows that are zero. We're not interested in those. Let's filter those out. So back to the filter, let's pick up this one, which tells me my difference. And I'm going to exclude zeros. Good. Now I'm looking at rows which are problems because I have invoiced more than I've shipped. Although here, by the way, we have one the other way around, but I'll ignore that for the moment. Now, it's possible that credit notes can confuse the situation. So to keep things simple at the moment, I'm going to go back to my filters and I'm going to add a filter on transaction type, and I'm just going to concentrate on transactions related to invoicing and shipments. Okay, so that's good so far. This order clearly has a problem. It would be very nice if we could actually quickly and easily visit that order in Deer, so we can, because I've made this field here, which as long as I'm logged into Deer, I click on that and it will take me to the order in Deer. And we can see that bags, we have indeed invoice 10, but if I look at the two fulfillments, it's not there, and this SKU bags is not here either, so we indeed haven't shipped it. Now you can see Zoho has given me lots of subtotals. I find that quite distracting, so I'm just going to make a small deviation to remove them. Okay, I've shown you what that convenient link does, that field, so I'll remove it too for the moment. Okay, now we need to go down to the SKU level to find out what's going on with the unit price for each one. The main table we're working with here is the sales order inventory transactions table. It doesn't have a SKU, it has this thing instead the product GUID, which is a unique identifier for each SKU, but it's not human friendly, so we won't use that. We use the real SKU. To use the real SKU, I need to go into the product table. And here I can access all the master data about products. In this case, I just want to take the SKU. Now that looks better. Okay. Great. Now back to our sales order transaction table. Let's pick up the revenue price, the average unit price. I'm just going to make it average. And now we know that we sold them for $6.80. So this is the price after all discounts. This is the invoice price, the net invoice price. The overstated revenue is that times that. Let's get there to do the calculation. It will be a currency, and it's this column times this column. Let's regenerate it. Okay, now we've got the overstated revenue. This is a very quick and dirty report. Let's that will make it a little bit better, and makes it a little bit easier to read because the columns are narrower. So it's not a perfectly finished report yet. In particular, I've ignored this order, which I've shipped but not invoiced. Luckily, because there's an invoice, there's no price, and therefore it hasn't calculated a value. Ideally, I'd split it into two reports, one for overstated COGS and one for overstated revenue. But that quick tour gives you an idea about the power of the connector and how easy Zoho Analytics is to use.